The principle of cause and effect is the sixth principle of 7 in total that may be used for self-mastery. This particular principle may be used to become the master of our experience rather than a slave to it. My name's Jasmine and welcome to the 7 Hermetic Principles series. See the description below to find links to the other episodes. The principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. The Kybalion. So this principle explains that the universe is by no means a mixed up, swirling mass of randomness, and that in fact, everything you could possibly think of has been caused by something else. So you would have likely heard the expression, everything happens for a reason, and this is simply another way to express the principle of cause and effect. Everything has a cause and an effect. No cause can create another cause. That cause is actually a link in a long chain of causes. So, for example, I wouldn't be here unless I initially stumbled upon these teachings, which wouldn't have happened unless I made a long series of decisions in my life. And prior to this, none of that would be possible unless my parents had met and a certain man and woman right at the beginning of history had met. So you get the picture. Each event has a mind-boggling series of cause and effects. And we could also apply this to the way we experience the world. For example, if we desire financial abundance, we may not take action to create that financial abundance because of a deep-seated belief that was created through a thought that we kept thinking because of something that happened when we were 12, which was a result of another event, and so on. Hence, finding an initial primary cause is rather impossible. Importantly, awareness of this principle itself unlocks the power within it. There is no chance. Nothing comes from nothing, Parmenides. Chance would imply that something is outside of cause and effect, yet this is a law that is universal by nature and governs all that is a part of the all. Such laws allow for an unfathomable order within the universe rather than disorder and lawlessness. If something appears to happen by chance, this is because the cause is simply not recognized. So if we consider something like the fall of a dice, prior to the fall, we have to consider a chain of events that actually do occur, such as the position of the die in the hand, the amount of muscular energy that is expended in the throw, and then obviously the condition of the table itself. The planes of causation and karma. In Buddhism and Hinduism, this principle is known as karma, where every thought, intention, word, and action will eventually become the fruits we reap in not just this life, but the next. There may be a delay between cause and effect, but sooner or later, we will receive the effect of good or bad karma based on the nature of the cause. So it's nice for us to think that good things happen because of good deeds, but on the other hand, it is more challenging and outright controversial at times to think that the bad things have also been created. So it may be extremely difficult to actually understand why such situations may have been created in the first place, and the answer to this lies within the many planes of causation. Many of the negative occurrences that take place in our life may have been the effect of a cause from far back in time and totally forgotten about. Some may have occurred in childhood or even previous lives. We are influenced by our grandparents and our great-grandparents and so on. This can also be seen in hereditary diseases. Additionally, in other planes of causation, we are influenced by our society, our educational institution, our friends, even our species. All are a part of the many planes of causation within cause and effect. Free will and determinism. So the question arises whether or not we as human beings actually possess free will if we are bound by the necessity of the principle of cause and effect. The answer to this question lies within the principle of polarity, as it reminds us we live in a world of polarity and all truths are but half-truths. On one side of the polarity we have free will and on the other, determinism. Master can transform and polarize themselves at the pole of free will rather than determinism. Ruling on on the lower plane. In order to move along the scale and polarize oneself towards the pole of free will, we must realize that although we are unable to escape the principle as it operates on the higher planes, we may, however, influence causes on the lower planes. This is because the higher planes dominate the lower, and the master will still obey the causation of the higher planes, yet they choose to rule on the lower. For example, in the higher planes, as above, there lie factors beyond our control, such as our astrology or causes in other realms or planes of existence, which may include causes from other lifetimes. Yet in the lower planes, so below, there lie factors that are very much within our control, such as awareness and personal mastery, where we can create causes that manifest the effects. The wise ones serve on the higher but rule on the lower. They obey the laws coming from above them, but on their own plane and those below them, they rule and give orders. The Kybalion. So in order to begin moving into free will and to rule on the lower plane, we must realize how we are a complete slave to our thoughts, moods, general environment, conditioning, hierarchical constructs, and so on. How can we apply this principle? Going back to the principle of correspondence, we learned that we live in a giant cosmic mirror, and everything that happens on the outside is a reflection of what is going on within us. Things begin in the lighter, more formless planes of existence and then manifest into the more dense planes of existence, since the higher planes dominate the lower. So our inner world creates our outer world, and therefore our inner world is the realm of cause and the outer the realm of effect. So in order to really master this principle, we must turn our attention inwards and become the master of our inner world so that we can actually stand at the cause of our life. The masses of people are carried along obedient to environment, the wills and desires of others stronger than themselves, heredity, suggestion, and other outward causes moving them about like pawns on the chessboard of life. But the masters rising to the plane above dominate their moods, characters, qualities, and powers, as well as the environment surrounding them, and become movers instead of pawns. The Kybalion. Thoughts. Now, every thought has an effect, and the principle of mentalism reminds us that all is mind, highlighting the influence that our thought has in creating our experience. So, in order to really take the reins of our life and stand at the cause, we must think for ourselves and purify the mind through mental alchemy. We can do this through becoming aware of our thoughts, attitudes, and beliefs, making sure that they are of our own heartfelt authenticity, rather than those of social conditioning, family, or other environmental influences. We may seek to purify our intentions through cultivating loving kindness and compassion for the world and humanity. When we transform our thinking, we transform our destiny, not only in this lifetime and the ones to follow, but also for our descendants' lifetimes. The majority of people are more or less the slaves of heredity, environment, etc., and manifest very little freedom. They are swayed by the opinions, customs, and thoughts of the outside world, and also by their emotions, feelings, and moods. The Kybalion. Become the observer. So in order to really stand at the cause, we must learn to live in the higher planes through actually learning to observe our thoughts and emotions. You see, many are living their lives totally identified with their emotional experiences and the thoughts in their head. In doing so, they are a slave to them. Yet, through learning to cultivate this alternative perspective as the observer of these inherently human experiences, we actually find freedom, and we exist in a place where thought does not represent truth. We don't have to believe the voices in our head, and they are simply vibrational frequencies temporarily occupying the mind space. And same with emotions, they are just energy in motion, temporarily occupying the emotional body. As the observer, we are not reactive because we live in a heightened state of awareness of our headspace and emotional body. When we experience anger, we watch watch it rather than blindly reacting through projecting it at others. When our phone alerts us to a text message, we watch our inner reaction rather than automatically succumbing to an impulse to check it. When fearful thoughts arise, we watch them from a place of detachment rather than believing them and choosing to follow negative thought streams. In all of these examples, we stand at the cause simply through observation, and we've really claimed our mastery. So for more information on this, please check out my videos titled Cultivating the Witness Talks. Actions and blaming. We must empower ourselves by realizing that we are not victims, and through taking responsibility for our actions and experiences, we stop blaming anyone for anything on the outside world, knowing deeply that we stand firmly at the cause. Now, every action taken creates an effect. So it's not only our thoughts, but also our actions and behavior in general that manifest effects and shape the world as we know it. So if we are unhappy with the effects that we have created, then we must change the causes that gave birth to them in the first place. And we do this through action. So through consciously changing our actions, we change our experience of the world. It is of the utmost importance to carry out service to self as well as service to others, learning to live from the heart and bringing compassion into the way we play in this game of earth. Since we are the players rather than the pawns, it is our responsibility to create positive change in the world. So the knowledge of this principle alone enables us to transform as human beings, claiming our power and transforming our life and the lives of others. We just must simply keep in mind that everything we do at any given moment will manifest effects. So it is with wisdom, mastery, awareness, authenticity, and compassion that we stand at the cause of our life. So my name's Jasmine, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it useful, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye 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 bye!